Hello, in this video I'm going to talk about healthy, mindful eating habits. If this is something that you are trying to improve in your life, then stay tuned to this video. Alright, so let's talk about healthy eating, mindful eating. I'm going to give you a bunch of tips and let's get started. So the first tip I have for you is to drink hot herbal tea or hot water with lemon before eating in the morning and also throughout the day. Why is this good? Because hot drinks or warm drinks are better for your digestion, your digestive strength. When you drink cold water, especially if it's ice water, that's going to destroy your, maybe not destroy is not a good word, but it's going to severely impair your ability to digest. So what you want is warm or sometimes hot. If you're drinking tea, you're probably going to want it to be hot. And lemon is very good to drink in the morning for the same reason. It'll stimulate your appetite. So another thing about drinking is not to drink during meals as much as you drink outside of your meals. So this is why I say to drink throughout the day, because that's going to help keep you hydrated evenly, and it's not going to interrupt your digestion. When there's too much water in the stomach, it can't digest as well because the enzymes are getting, for lack of a better word, destroyed. I mean, you know what I mean. So basically, I just stick to hot herbal tea. I have drank lemon water before, but I know lemon juice will eat away at the enamel of your teeth, and that worries me. So that's the only reason I don't drink lemon water very often, but there are a lot of health experts that recommend that. So it's really your call. I just stick to herbal tea and hot water. And sometimes I put collagen, which is like a bone broth. That's something that I, beef bone broth or chicken bone broth. I start my day with that quite often. The next tip is to eat only 3 meals a day or less if your meals are large, and make lunch your biggest meal. So the reason why lunch should be the biggest meal is because during the middle part of the day, when the sun is the highest in the sky, this is when your body has the strongest digestion or digestive power. So, and you want to have dinner be the smallest meal. And that's usually the opposite of how people do it. People nowadays in the modern world, they tend to eat the biggest meal of the day at supper time because that's usually the only time that the family has together. But it's not as good for your health and definitely not as good for your waistline because, after you eat dinner, that's usually towards the end of the day. You're not really going to do much exercise after that, so those calories are just building up. So try this if you're trying to lose weight. Eat a big lunch or big breakfast. Breakfast is good too because, that's early in the day, as long as you're not eating a really big breakfast at like 5 a.m. So you want to eat as close as possible to the middle of the day as your biggest meal. So try that if you're trying to lose weight and see how that goes. Eat a small meal for dinner, and then that way you will also sleep better because when your body is not digesting, it is able to put all of its energy towards detoxification, rejuvenation, and healing, which happens when you sleep. So the next tip is to eat fruit separately in between meals or before a meal, never after. This is something that I didn't know about until I started studying Ayurveda. So this is an Ayurvedic tip, and the reason for this is because fruit digests very quickly. It can digest within an hour for sure. And so you do not want to have fruit in your stomach after you eat a really big meal, especially if you eat a really hearty, protein-filled meal, because your stomach is going to take a couple of hours to digest that. And that fruit is going to start getting icky. Let's just put it that way. So that will cause gas. So if you have issues with gas, and indigestion, bloating. That is all caused, one of the things that causes that is eating fruit before a meal. Or after a meal, I should say. If you do eat it before a meal, make sure that it's at least giving some time in there for it to get through a little quickly, like maybe 10-15 minutes before. But yeah, just don't eat fruit after the meal or during a really big meal. Give some form of gratitude before each meal. So this doesn't need to be praying. This can just be taking a moment and just sitting. You don't have to fold your hands if you're not religious. You can just take that moment and just get calm, take a few breaths, and just really think about what all went into your food, what all went into getting it to you. Because sometimes there's a lot of steps between us and our food where it comes from. And this is even nice to do if you grow your own food. You can show gratitude while you are picking it out of your garden. You can show gratitude while you're cooking it. And putting love and gratitude into your food is energetically good for you. That will help the food be better for you. The next one is to eat in a calm environment, as little noise and movement as possible. Along with this is also to eat sitting, not standing or driving, because when your body is standing, your body thinks that it needs to be on alert. It thinks that you are, it's going to have to give you energy to move around, and so it's not going to put any energy into digestion. And another thing is to not multitask while you're eating. Avoid being near a lot of stimulation. Like I said, make sure there's not much noise, not much movement. The best place, I'm trying to think of the word, environment, I guess, for eating is outside if you can. Sitting outside. This is something that a lot of our ancestors did. This is something that a lot of countries still do, because this has been how they, were raised, how they grew up, and it's just a tradition to eat outside. They take long lunches. They take like an hour or two to eat a lunch outside. And this is one of the best health habits. The countries that do this, they have really good statistics when it comes to health. Because when you're eating a meal, that's, a lot of things that are happening to you at that time go into the whole digestion process. So you really want to be in nature. If you can't actually be in nature, you can look out a window. That's the next best thing. But just make sure you're sitting, you're in a calm environment, you're not standing, you're not moving around, you're not watching videos, you're not listening to people arguing. It's a lot like, how they kind of compare when babies are in the womb, they absorb everything that's happening. So your environment is going to, if you're pregnant, if you have kids, your environment when you're pregnant is reaching that baby. So it's the same thing with eating, You don't want to be in bad environments when you're nurturing yourself. Chew slowly and thoroughly until your food is mushy. And oops, I do have the rest of that, but it's underneath the picture. So, until your food is almost watery. And the reason for this is because your saliva is actually the first step. Well, really, technically, it's actually the second step of digestion, because the first step is smelling it. When you smell food, that actually gets your saliva to start flowing, and then your saliva, there's a reason for it. It's not just to keep your tongue moist, it's to get your food digested. It's to start the digestion process, because if your food is going down your throat in big chunks, it's putting so much more stress and effort on your stomach. And so your food's going to be less digested the farther along it goes. And that's just going to cause more problems. So you want to chew slowly and thoroughly until your food is mushy. Include a variety of colors in your diet. You might have heard of the rainbow diet. I love this. The rainbow diet was actually, I don't know if it was invented by, but this woman named Dr. Deanna Minnick has a book called The Rainbow Diet. And I read that, and she's just amazing. I just love her work. So check her out if you're interested. So what you want is a wide variety of colors. It's the polyphenols in the food that, and the chlorophyll and all the fancy science names that I don't know. Every one of them colors has a different thing that makes it that color that our bodies need. So, you want to get your dark purple. You want to get your red. You want to get your orange, yellow, green, blue. And, these are mostly fruits and vegetables. So that's a great way to get those as well. Stop eating before you get too full. In Ayurveda, they say it's either 75% or 85% that you should stop when you feel that full. And the reason for that is because when your stomach is full, there's no air in there and it's expanding. So you don't want your stomach to get bigger. You don't want everything to expand. So it can't digest as well when it's completely full of food. Just think of your dishwasher or your clothes washer, your washing machine. You can't cram it to the ceiling and expect it to get everything clean. You have to have space in there for the water to move around, for the air to move around. Same with your stomach. Add any of these spices to your meals, to your tea, to improve digestion. Cinnamon, turmeric, coriander, fennel seeds, cumin, ginger. There's probably a lot of them, but these are the best ones. Ayurveda recommends these. And my favorite 3 out of this are coriander seeds, fennel seeds, and cumin seeds when it comes to tea. But I love ginger. Oh my gosh, I love ginger. I put ginger in more things than I ever used to even be aware of because ginger is so good. I've been trying to find recipes just to eat ginger. So, and then, it's really easy to make tea with these spices. You can get fennel seeds, cumin seeds, or regular ground cumin. I think, cumin seeds work better because really you don't want to sprinkle powdery things in your tea or you're going to be getting that grittiness in there. So what you want is the coriander seeds, fennel seeds, and cumin seeds. And those are these 3 right here, and see how they're a little bigger size. So they won't be hard to make a tea out of because you can strain them and then you're not going to get all that gritty stuff. After a meal, walking is good, but no strenuous exercise. So they say to wait a little bit after you're done eating and then go for a quick walk, maybe 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. Just don't do like cardio right after you eat. That's gonna drain too much of your energy and your body's gonna be like, what? Am I gonna digest now or am I gonna work out? So what you just want to do is walk because that will stimulate the digestive system. Try to include the 6 tastes into each meal or as many as possible. Those 6 tastes are sweet, sour, salty, bitter, astringent, and pungent. You might not have heard of these before in this manner. I mean, everybody knows what some of these words mean, but in Ayurveda, they talk about each food has one of these tastes. And these tastes have different qualities. So this is another reason why I love Ayurveda, because they go deep into this and they, it's going to depend on your body type, what tastes are going to work best for you. But everybody does need all of them at some point, especially because throughout the year, throughout the day, even throughout the month, our needs will change. So this is a great reason to dive into Ayurveda if you want to learn about what body type you are and which of the 6 tastes are good for you. Well, there's usually 3 or 4 that are good for you and a couple that aren't. But like I said, everybody needs all of them at some point. So that's a crucial thing to learn. So obviously you're not going to be able to get all 6 in every meal. That's crazy. I don't think I could even plan that well. But the reason why people have cravings in the first place is because they're not getting enough of one of these tastes. If you're eating a strict diet and you're limiting yourself from something, that might be why maybe you crave salty potato chips, because you're not getting enough salt in the rest of your diet. And potato chips are easy. So that's why people grab them, because you can have a bag of potato chips like right now. That's not hard to accomplish, but it is harder to accomplish getting it into your meals. I mean, that's the downside to eating healthy. You have to plan ahead. You have to create meals that have these tastes in them, rather than just running to a candy bar for your sweet tooth, you know, things like that. Use only natural sweeteners such as molasses, honey, stevia, monk fruit, or xylitol. So this is for people that like to cook. Most people aren't going to think of these things if they're not into cooking. So if you are, if you are a cook, then try to use these things. Stevia is pretty easy. That comes in packets. I think monk fruit also comes in packets. And honey, of course, is very simple and easy to buy. So my favorite mindful eating activity is eating fruit in the sunlight. This is a bonus tip for you. This is because I just love, this is what actually made me think to make this video, because when I'm eating fruit in the sunlight, it helps me connect to my food. It helps me feel grateful for my food. It's calming. I'm in a nice, relaxing environment. I'm being mindful about it. I'm seeing how the sun illuminates the fruit and the colors just pop. Of course, you don't have to eat in the outside if you can't get outside. I usually eat in front of a window where the morning sun comes in, and I stand there with my little bowl of fruit in the morning. I usually have blueberries and dark purple grapes, the red grapes. I don't like the green grapes just because they don't have as much sweetness, and I don't think they're as good for you, although they're not bad for you. They're probably like the equivalent of what iceberg lettuce is compared to things like spinach. You know, it's healthy, but there's better options. So I always eat purple grapes and blueberries and strawberries and raspberries, and those things are they're just heavenly to sit in that sunlight, and I just hold it up and I look at it, and it's just so beautiful, and that's one of my favorite mindful eating activities. So if you enjoyed this video and you are interested in learning more about healthy food, I have a video called The Healthiest Foods to Eat right here. So make sure you watch that next. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed this, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching.